What's up, everybody, and welcome to Carpo After Dark Random Wheelchair Session number 327-4B. This episode is brought to you by Espresso. Espresso, the drink of people who like to wake up. Try an espresso today and be awake. Now, is that the best sales pitch you've ever heard? So I just got back from the store and I bought an espresso maker. I wanted to buy one of the regular ones, like the, lock-in style ones with the little, handle and everything. They were out of stock. So I ended up buying one of those percolator type ones, the Italian ones. I can't remember what they're called, but goddamn if that thing doesn't make some damn good coffee. I never realized how damn good those things were. I have a new favorite coffee maker now. Yeah, I'm a big coffee fan. I have been thinking, society looks at certain things like, coffee is acceptable, considered acceptable. Coffee, tea, if you want to go as far as alcohol and cigarettes, they're considered acceptable. Cigarettes are going downhill. Alcohol is going downhill. Back in the 60s, alcohol and cigarettes were sold everywhere as being the ultimate. Cigarettes were in every movie. They even went as far as to tell you they were good for you. Well, when I was sitting here sipping this espresso, I was thinking, it's one of my guilty pleasures. Espresso loaded up with sugar and cream, some white chocolate, and it's one of those addictions of mine, but it's not so much an addiction. I've quit drinking coffee. It's just that I really enjoy the flavor. And I guess I could go with the decaf if I wanted to, but it's just, it's processed more. I just would prefer to just drink coffee. And I do like the buzz too, especially if I drink it in the morning, but anyway, that wasn't really the point of my video. It was really just how people view us and their interpretations of us, and what the hell do people expect of us? People expect us to be a certain way. I know I've talked about that a lot of times, but I wasn't thinking really people, we have family members that expect us to be a certain way. And we have friends that expect us to be a certain way. And bosses, co-workers, children, parents. But what about people like on the internet, let's say? What do they expect of us? You might meet some random person who messages you, and then one guy last year got really mad at me because he sent me a couple of private messages onto my message thing, and I don't check it very often. I didn't really know how. I'm computer savvy, but I don't really know how to get into the depths of stuff. And I finally found him one time, and it turns out the message he'd sent me somehow went to the spam folder because he had a link in it. But the only two messages I got were him getting all mad, saying, "You're ignoring me on purpose. I figured as much," and he started drawing all these conclusions and calling me names and stuff, and we'd never even talked. I didn't know who the guy was. I'd never met him, and I was like, oh, okay, I tried to be civil and whatnot, but that was one of those times, and then other times when people they bring something up and you're not interested in the conversation, and maybe you don't agree or something, and it's not a matter of wanting to debate it. It's you just say, no, I'm not interested, and then they say, oh, well, it's because you're full of shit, or it's like whatever. Like, people demand that you argue with them, is I guess what I'm getting at. It's not always about arguing. Sometimes it's about just discussing. People want to discuss a particular topic, let's say, and you're not interested in it. I get this a lot with people I know, no offense, my family members, somebody I know really well that talks to me about things that I'm not interested in, but I make myself interested in them. But I can't change who I am and one of the things I'm interested in, But people expect you to listen and pay attention, to be a certain way, and I'm like, well, I just can't. It's just not, in my nature. Not that I can't listen to people, because I do, but it has to be a two-way conversation. And it has to be an interesting subject. Like my wife was saying earlier, because we were talking with my mom, and she was saying how she has a hard time talking with people because she's not good with small talk. She doesn't like small talk. And, I'm the same way. I don't like small talk. I don't like talking about random little shit. I like saying, instead of like, what football team's playing or what movie's on or what commercial happened, I'd rather talk about why the sky is, such a beautiful color, or whether or not nature intended us to do this or that, just life things. That's just how I am. I've always been that way. But I don't know. This espresso is so damn good. What got me thinking about all this was society's view of drug usage. Let's say they expect you to not use a certain thing or to use a certain thing, and go to a doctor if you have a problem. Don't try to self-diagnose. Don't try to help yourself. And now you start questioning whether or not an inebriated state, or let's say not even an inebriated state, but maybe just an altered state altogether, even just coffee, drinking caffeine, is that cheating? I don't think so, but I guess to each his own. I notice that the people who always tell you what's not good are the ones that don't do it themselves, of course, and it's easy for people to point the finger, but not at themselves. And I guess what I'm really getting at after this 6 minutes and 42 seconds of rambling is that I don't give a shit what people think about me. I don't give a shit what people think I should be doing, and I don't care what people think that I should have learned or shouldn't learn, or should or shouldn't talk about, should or shouldn't believe. I don't give a shit what people's opinion is about me, if they don't like me, if they disagree with me, if they think that I'm egotistical, if they think I'm an asshole. That only matters to me with people that show me the same respect that I show them. And often I make mistakes just like everyone else does, and I get a little hasty in my assessments of people, and it's not because of an ego, it's more of just an irritation with the way that people seem to push themselves on each other so much, and it becomes just overwhelmingly annoying, to the point where it's just like you just kind of laugh everybody off, and you become dismissive, and you do become passive aggressive and a little bit counterproductive at times, or I do anyway, just because I don't want to deal with people. But and I'm not just talking about internet, I'm talking about just people in general. I'm just like very particular about what I'm interested in, but it's just me. Can't change that. I'm not going to pretend like I'm someone else. I am me. I'm doing the best I can. I question my integrity, I question my motives, I question my ideas, but, I'm me. Anyway, those are my thoughts for the evening, so hope y'all have a great one. Take care.